So we're going to do a review of this website and clean it up and kind of just overall fix the design. So here we have it. It is for a cleaning website. And as you can see, when I'm generally looking at this, there is a lot that is going on here. So we're going to go ahead and clean this up a little bit, and let's show you how we would go about doing it. So to start, when I'm generally looking at this, I almost see too much going on here and my eyes don't know where to look. So we're going to clean that up a little bit. And while I do like having these buttons here, I think it's kind of unnecessary because we have the phone number here. We've got get a free estimate here. We've got it here. See our work is all up here. So what I'm going to do in this example is go ahead and just get rid of these buttons on this specific site, just because, like I said, it's got too much going on. And when you have too much going on, it's like, what is the user supposed to look at first? As well as we like to think and we like to design on mobile responsive, you have to think when all this goes into your mobile, that's going to be a lot just looking at a small phone screen. So I'm going to go ahead and even this up, and then I can save those changes. And then we'll kind of go from there and see how it is. Now, I do like having some buffer on the sides here, just to bring everything a little bit further in, closer in. So we're going to do that. Make sure they're even. So that one's 4. This one is now 4. It says the number one residential and commercial cleaning service in Falls. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this to bring it a little bit smaller. I'm going to go ahead and for now get rid of this just to make this a little bit more cleaner in here and easier to see. And then this way we can blow this up to kind of make it say, hey, this is kind of like our H1 header, and this is the main thing that we kind of want to make stand out. And then I'm going to go ahead and also make this a little bit smaller here. It's a little too small. Now we're kind of looking at this. Generally, I think this is a little too much white up here and it's a little bit too big, but it's kind of hard because we don't want to make this logo too small. But I'm going to downsize this just slightly to see what this looks like. And then I'm going to make the header just a little bit bigger. And the other thing here is we have what's pathway text here. And then we have a whole nother different text here. So we're going to go ahead and change this to make sure they line up. And then this one is different as well. This is the redirects. So we're going to go ahead and change that. Just because we want to kind of keep the same font style throughout the site the same. Let's go ahead and bump this up to 24. And then now we went from this to this, which I do think is looking a little bit better already, making things get cleaned up a little bit. Now I do see that these are different. This one's bolded, this one's not. These are non-clickable elements, so that's something that we would come up here and actually do. Where we're going to come in here, we're going to copy that, we're going to bold this, we're going to make it that pathway. Let's go ahead and set 16, and then we're going to come in here and go phone. Same thing with email. We're going to remember those settings we just set. We're going to come in here and copy that, set it as pathway, 16, email this time. So we've got that set. We're going to go ahead and bold that. So now that is set there. And once again, we're going to come over here and now make sure all of this matches up. We're going to go 16, bold. Once again, one more time, we're going to come in here and bold this, pathway, 16. So now we're all set there. We can kind of open this back up and do a look. So this is all I'm going to do for here for right now. I'm going to move on and go into this. So as we can see, there is a lot of different colors kind of going on this site where you've got this beige color, then this yellow, and then this blue. Generally styling a website, you kind of want to keep it with your main styles on kind of like matching where your logos and your branding, your color, making things clean. I think this is just too many colors clashing. In this example, I think it might be a little bit better if we came in here, went ahead and just changed this text to this beige color or possibly that blue color. And then this text here, we could go ahead and just go straight black. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. Then now what I'm going to do is come in here and change this block or this column, because the column is actually the color that is changed. I'm going to save this as well. But I'm going to change this column to straight white. And then I'm going to change the background of the entire block to white. This column is a beige color, so I'm going to change this to a white. I'm going to save that. And one thing while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and come into this global styling, go into color palette. I'm going to change this secondary color to that beige or the bluish color, just so we can match up the styling. Let's save that. Now, once again, I'm going to come back in here and just get rid of this beige color. Get rid of this color here. But first, I'm going to come in here and change this to a black. This to a black. Let's go white here. This is where I may look and find a different image that may fit better here. So these are all the general images we have for now. So what I can do is actually come in here and upload some different images, which I will do next. But let's go ahead and make that that image for now. What we're going to do is change this text to the pathway. We're going to make it a little bit smaller so it kind of all fits in here in the same style. Same thing with here. Let's cut this down to a 20. In this example, this middle column is kind of unneeded here. What we can do is actually shrink this down to 2 columns and then move this over. All of this, there is kind of a lot of text going on here as well. So we may come back and adjust this. These buttons, these styles are a little bit different, as you can tell. If we do want to keep that blue color, we can obviously do that by coming in here and changing that blue to here. So now we've got those, but let's go ahead and just look at these buttons. So this is 25 and 0. And this one is 15, 4, and 0. So we're going to go ahead and change this up to match the same styling. And then as we can see, it says schedule a cleaning and learn more about us, but this one is lowercase and this one is uppercase. So we kind of want to make the styles. So whenever you're designing a website, you kind of want to keep your styles pretty much similar throughout the same website where you're designing it all. So we're going to go ahead and change all of this up. I generally like to do this. So now we've got that. We've got those stylings. I'm going to go ahead and move this over left to align, left to align again. So now we're kind of lining up because once again, we want to keep kind of like the same style. We want to keep our lines lining up, align to left, align to center, align to right, etc. Once again, this is one where we don't need 3 columns necessarily. So we can go ahead and make this 2, make this fill out a little bit. And another thing, you can see a difference here. We have this is a full width, or we can come in here and do box. I generally like to kind of style a box just because when you're designing mobile and different screen sizes, it helps it to keep more centered. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean you have to go about doing that, but you can obviously open it up to go full width if you want. And if you do switch it, you do have to kind of play around with the design and how it looks. Let's go ahead and back just for now. But I do think I probably will adjust this a little bit where I will bring this in so it doesn't look like it goes all the way over to the side. And then other thing is I want to kind of make the text line up with all of this. So I'm going to pull some spacing here. This is where I would add that secondary color in. In this example, the main color is kind of that beige, and then the secondary is that bluish color. So we're going to go ahead and change that to here. I think there's a lot of spacing here. So what I might do is I have not fully read through these right now, but what I'm going to do is just go ahead and bring them all together. And then later I will go through and read this to make it look a little bit better, clean it up, add some wordage, and obviously add my SEO keywords and just make sure the copy is written well for SEO. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of bring all this in to make it look a little bit better here. So once again, I'm going to change this to that secondary color for this website, which was that blue. And another thing here we have, see how it's all capitalized? It's not all capitalized here. Once again, kind of goes back to that styling. So let's keep the styling the same. Let's bump this up to 22. So we're just going to be looking at it. Now, this doesn't honestly look the best. I'm having this. So this is where I might go back to this text, bump it down. But what I might do is come back to this one and make sure it matches up later on. 22, bold, no bold. That. Right now, I am not adding any SEO keywords, anything like that into this site. I'm just kind of generally doing a really quick overview and a video on this. But what I'm going to do, once again, get rid of this. I'm going to go black here and kind of go a white background styling. Because once again, having that beige on the blue, the colors kind of just contrast a little bit too more. Generally, when you are building a website, your main backgrounds are probably going to be white or black. That does not mean that has to be like that, but it just see how much more this almost pops when you're kind of looking at it with having that white background. All these kind of stand out a little bit more. With the main color being beige, I might honestly switch these to beige, and then have that other secondary color kind of stand out in the blue. So let me look at these. I do honestly like the blue a little bit better on here. So I'm going to switch that back. And another cool thing is I can actually come back here and do undo, and it switches that back for me. Go ahead and save those changes. This is when I'm going to come in here. Once again, change all this text up here so I can change the background color just so it can kind of stand out a little bit more and not be so color clashing, if that makes sense. So we've got that. I do want to add some spacing here. So one thing that I could do is come in here and add a spacer to just give me some more room to kind of breathe, essentially. Another way I can honestly do this is come in here and go to columns, and then when you get this pop-up, add another row in this block. So it's going to add a row up here, and that's going to give me some spacing. But what I want to do is actually move this row down. So now it's below it. And then what I'm going to do is move that spacer inside of there. So it kind of gives me some breathing room in between these different blocks and sections. This could be bolded, potentially changed to this text. And I'm going to go back and play around with the text. I do think having a main text such as that pathway one, something like that, and then the hind, this one, I'm not 100% sure how you pronounce that last one, so sorry, but have this hind one as the secondary text. I do kind of like that. Now I might bold this, come up here and change the spacing, everything going in terms of that. Go ahead and once again change this background color. Just for spacing purposes, I'm going to see how I can get this to line up. So maybe be something closer to this. Let's go ahead and change this to this beige. Go ahead and change this to that blue color as the secondary color. Go ahead and get white background. Once again, we're going to go white here. And then this is where we could come in here, and it already has it a little bit, but instead of making these different colors such as that beige or that blue color, we can come in here and actually brighten the shadow up. So if we actually change the shadow to like a darker shadow, then maybe change things a little bit. So the blur radius, the offset is a little bit different. So we have 0, 0, 25, and -6 here. What we're going to do is come over here and match those exact settings. We're going to change that to that black, 0, 0, 25, and -6. Once again, come over here and change it to 0, 0, 25, -6. And one thing I like to do is sometimes I don't necessarily always have it as a black background. I might change it to like one of those colors just to see what it looks like. So that kind of does look good. But for now, general purposes, trying to be quick on this, I'm going to keep the styling the same because, like I said at the beginning of this video, when you're designing a website, you want to keep your designs and your styling throughout the website the same so users aren't confused. And if you do have all different types of styling, text, layouts, kind of formations of everything you're doing, sometimes it can almost clutter things and make it not necessarily look super, super professional. So I'm going to give some spacing here. I'm going to make sure it's pixel matching. So I'm going to go 15 here and 15 here. Once again, going to come in here and add those shadows in. We're going to go 25, -6. Once again, shadow. One thing I might do is actually round these borders on these just to see what it might look for us here. So once I'm finished with this, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Black, -6. Got that set. Let's go ahead and jump into the border now. Let's do a border radius of 5 is my kind of favorite. So it's not anything crazy. If you do go 1, kind of see how it changes that completely. Maybe we will go 20, being just to give it a little more oomph. We could also, if we really wanted to, add a border color. So it kind of does make it pop a little bit more. So let's go ahead and look at those settings one more time. It was 2 and 20 with blue. So let's go 2. $20 blue. One more time here. 2 20 and blue. I do think it kind of stands out a little bit more. So what we're going to do here is actually come in here and make sure all that matches up between these two ones, 220 and blue. To 20 and blue. One more time, 2 20 blue. Now I do think all this can still be edited and kind of adjusted to make it look a little bit better, but I'm going to leave it for now. I'm going to just see what this looks like really quickly. And sometimes when I am designing, I'll actually kind of set it up a couple different ways. I'll change text around just to kind of see, hey, what does it look like if I do this? Or what does it look like if I do that? Does it look better this way or does it look better this way? Even though all of these are different styles, it kind of shows me, hey, maybe what looks best in here. So it's something I do recommend maybe checking out. I personally like this one the best. So that is 15. So that is already set up. Come in here and change this text to here. Go there. Once again, I am going to come back to here. I'm going to go ahead and skip this section for now just so I can move on for the video purposes. This is where it is read the latest updates for the Oomni Cleanme services. So this is where we can come in here and add a empty block. Then go blog section, and what this will do is actually just pull those blog posts that we have created for this specific platform or this website. And this one I don't think has any blogs yet, so it's not going to show up, but this will show up once we do start adding blogs into the website. The blog recent post will show up here right above the footer. Go ahead and get rid of that background. Go ahead and change this background to all white. And then as you can see, this was also hidden in that. So we can actually come in here and edit this, change this around a little bit. Let's go ahead and move this, align this to left. Typically make this a little bit smaller here. And I'll just leave that for that now, I guess. The footer, I'm really not going to worry about too much in this example. I don't want to kind of waste time here. But I can come back and edit this. But let's look at it overall, see what we've done. So once again, we did edit this. And then we went from this with a lot of animations here. So that's another thing I might come in and remove is all these animations. I do have to kind of come back and remove this up here because I forgot to do that. So it's a block with a shape divider. Let's go ahead and get rid of that since it's all white background. We got that. And what we could actually come in here and change this one, but like I said, we went from this to this. Maybe change this blue color back to that beige so it just kind of lines up overall with the brand. See how just having the white background almost makes things stand out a little bit more, kind of pop. I do think I am going to come back here and maybe add in that section divider where it does have a slight background. Maybe even come and change this. This is another thing we could try out and test. And I know it's kind of going backwards, but this is kind of what you do in website design. You kind of jump back and forth and see, hey, maybe this is what looks best after you review it. Maybe, hey, this isn't best, or doesn't look good. So we can also see this background right there is not fully white. Same thing with this one. Oh, that's not what we wanted to do. Here, let's go ahead and just look at this background color and then lighten this up. Play around with the colors, just see, hey, what looks better, what maybe is best. Let's see. You guys will have to let me know your comment on what you potentially think on this specific website. On, do you think the blue? Do you think the white? Do you think the beige? I do like the white and how it's simple, but it's almost like there isn't enough. So maybe that's where I could come in here and bold, maybe add some kind of icons here. So that's another thing that we could do to maybe spoof this up a little bit, make it a little bit more eye appealing. Maybe add some images here because a lot of things in websites is adding imagery. So I know in the file manager, we didn't have a lot of images for this specific website. So that's where we will ask the client to provide more images and then we will pull from there. But overall, that is kind of like the general gist of a really quick rundown on going over through this website specifically on maybe what I would do to kind of clean it up. And as you can see, I'm still going through and cleaning it up a little bit. I think this for matching the brand might be a little bit better and keeping that. And then keeping our button styles, what I would do here is on hover, change this to a beige color with a white text. On hover, change this to that blue color with a white text. And then make sure these button stylings match up down here, align to left here, align to left here. Maybe add a little bit more spacing here and spoof up this kind of text design here. I might even bump this up to here. But jumping through it, let's go ahead real quick and look at the get an estimate form. So here we can see we have a lot here, a lot going here. This beige color, once again, while it's not the worst, I just don't think it's a great preference. So what I might do is kind of come back in here and adjust this, make it a white background. And with having beige up here and then beige down here, what I might do in the gradient is go a blue at the bottom with a white at the top. And I could make it all the way, or I could bring it all the way down, which I'm going to bring it kind of back into there. And I will come back and change these pictures so we don't have repeating pictures. The same pictures throughout the site. One thing that we also could do is come in here, add an image. We're going to pick this image. We're going to go to the logo. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. I do kind of like having that text back up here, so I'm going to go ahead and undo those changes. What I might figure out is maybe even get rid of this and then put it up here. Nope, don't like that, so I'm going to move it back down here. Overall, I'm just going to go ahead and save that for now. See if this button lines up. So I do think this looks a little bit better having that blue. So I might even go ahead and change it even further, where I come in here and edit this. Obviously change the image, but maybe dial down the blue a little bit, just because it kind of does overpower or takes my eye away from what the main goal here is, which is obviously filling out that get a form or get an estimate. Another big thing is this header. I don't think it's necessarily the best. Now, this header was picked off of a theme, so it kind of does eat up a lot of room here. So what we might end up coming in here and doing is maybe even coming in here and turning off this background color for this header and doing something more like this, where we've got it turned off. We would obviously have to change this logo to a transparent background version. Maybe move this text down to here and move a menu up here. But overall, just play around with it. I think changing the header design would maybe make things look a little bit better on this website specifically as well. But what I will do is I will kind of play around with it and edit it some more and then kind of go from there. And then when I do get that finished, you guys will obviously see the update. I think that's all I want to go over right now. This video is like 28 minutes long, so I'm going to go ahead and pause it for there. If you do have any questions or see suggestions or things that you do or don't like, let me know, and then we'll see about how we can improve it and go from there.